Hi, so today in this video I'm going to review a job description from HSBC. HSBC is a leading bank in the world, one of the biggest bank in the world. They have this vacancy in London, which is a vice president model management. And let's go through the job description, see what the requirements are and how one should prepare for such a job. Right, it's part of the model risk management. As you may know, model risk is about assessing risk associated with uses of the model. So it's about validating the models. It's about assessing different risk associated with different models. Models can be from any area of business within finance, can be from credit risk, from market risk, operational risk, and so on. So here you go. So this is all about what you will be doing there, right? It's a role that requires technical skills, obviously, because it's a technical profile. But at the same time, you will be interacting with a number of stakeholders. For example, you will be interacting with the regulators. You will be interacting with the front office people. You will be interacting with the second line, third line risk management, audit team, for example. You may even have to interact with the IT team sometimes. So it's a role that requires you to have strong technical knowledge, but at the same time, have the flexibility of doing stakeholder management and so on. And it's a VP role, by the way. So it's a very senior role, not an extremely senior role, not an executive role, but it's a senior analyst type of a role. You may even have to do some people management if in case you become the team lead of a team. So it's here, you see, support the business in meeting model risk management regulatory expectations. So it's a regulatory position. So there will be a number of requirements from the regulators that HSBC has to meet for various jurisdiction. I assume this is primarily for England, for the Bank of England in the UK. But it could also be for European Union, ECB, or Fed in the US. So they do all kinds of work from London. So it doesn't have to be just work related to the UK market, but could also be for the market outside of the UK, for example, in European Union, Asia, or the US, right? So you'll be involved in a number of things related to the models. For example, overseeing the model landscape and pipeline, different matrices used for model, especially for assessing model performance, any issues with the models, and timely remediation. So issues are nothing but obligations or findings from the regulators, right? After the models are developed in the banking world, they go through series of reviews. First by the internal teams, model validation team, model audit team, and later by the external team. And external teams could be the regulator, right? Regulator, central banks, regulator, ECB in the Europe, Bank of England in UK, Fed in the US. And these models could also go through a round of review by the external third-party agency. For example, a big four consulting firm doing the audit of some of the models, that could also take place, right? And with this review, right, you have many findings and obligations to be resolved by the bank. And as a model risk manager, somebody doing model management, you have to take the accountability of addressing some of these issues, and that would be your work, right? So it's not about developing model as such. So it's not a model development profile. You will not be doing hands-on model development, but we will be doing more of a model management. It's again a very technical role. You have to have strong understanding of the models, the regulations, the risk management aspect, but at the same time, we have to be flexible to work on non-technical areas such as stakeholder management, reaching out to people, answering questions, writing reports, writing memos. It's very important. Another important thing I would like to say is that in such a role, right, you have to be a specialist in multiple areas, because as a model manager, you need not be an expert on just one type of model. but you have to be an expert in more than one type of models. So that's a difference between working as a model developer and doing model management related work. As a model developer, you can specialize just in one area and work there for, let's say, 5 4 5 years. But as a model manager, you will have to manage different types of models. So knowledge of different type of models is also important, and that's why it's a bit challenging. And you switch from retail models to corporate models to securitized models and so on. So having knowledge of multiple areas really helps, and that's why it's also a very challenging area, right? You will also be part of the different committees within the bank. So again, your communication skills will be extremely important, because you will be working as an expert, providing your views on different challenges faced in the model risk management landscape, and how the bank would go about resolving this issue. So you will be asked your opinion on various areas. So that's where in different committees, right? You'll be representing, you'll be part of different committees there. As I've said, liaising with different stakeholders, so that's important. Here is mentioned as well. You have to be a thought leader. That means you will have to influence a number of people at all level, right? At the middle management level, at the senior management level. Even you have to be able to influence people at like director and CRO level, chief risk officer level. And that's also a beauty of this profile, right? It's not a super technical hands-on model development profile, but it's a profile. It has got enough technical stuff, but at the same time you will have access to people, very senior people. You will be talking to a number of senior stakeholders, right? And this is also a profile people take up after working as a model developer for, let's say, 4 5 6 years. Once you become a specialist in one area, and when you start out, it's good to become a highly technical person. So for junior people, I would say, the ones fresh out of university, I would say simply go and get a highly technical profile, specialize in that profile. Maybe you can try a few more such profiles and be a specialist in more than one area. And after being a bit experienced, right, if you want to move to either more managerial profile, or you want to be a bit more closer to the front office people, then takes such a profile. Just get such a job. That's better for your career, I would say, because you will be then interacting with people in the business, right? Because eventually a lot of people from the modeling area, from technical area, want to work in the business side. So if that is what you want to do, this is one good profile, because this gives a bit of both, right? Bit of technical and bit of business. All right, so what skills you are expected to have, right? You should have education in mathematical finance or economics or any quantitative field, experience of banking and modeling and so on. It's a senior profile, so they would expect you to have knowledge of finance and models and regulations and so on. Understanding of model risk related to the US regulations, so the UK regulations, for example, SR 11.7, US regulation related to model risk. Knowledge of, again, it's important to see, they don't expect you an expert, super duper expert in models, but working knowledge of regulatory models like PD, LGD, EAD model in credit risk model management is important. Many people reach out to me asking question whether they can move from regulatory reporting or working as a business analyst in the banking area, or to front office, to modeling profiles. This is one profile you can try, because you don't have to be extremely good at developing PD, LGD, EAD models. If you have some knowledge of it, even a working knowledge of it, and you have good understanding of different banking functions, you can be a suitable candidate for such a job, right? You do not have to be having hands-on modeling experience for such a role, right? It goes without saying, this expect you to have good analytical skills. Any risk management profile, you are expected to have decent verbal and written communication skills. And this is not a super technical profile, as I've said. This is a profile that expect to have knowledge of different models, but at the same time much more than that, right? So you should be able to influence people, have good personal skills. You should be willing to talk to people and have good listening skills and so on. Planning and time management, very important. Regulatory work is always a big challenge. It can be a bit stressful sometimes because you have strict deadlines and the reputation of the bank is at stake. So if someone who thinks that you do not want to work in a stressful environment, this is definitely not a career for you. This will be somewhat stressful, and therefore the job is therefore lucrative. It's based out of London, and if you are interested, you can also reach out to the recruiters, or you apply on LinkedIn. But that's not the point here. I just wanted to discuss the job profile itself, and there are similar job profiles across various other banks in US, Europe, and UK or Asia. So thought of discussing this job profile. I'll be discussing more job profiles on this channel, just to give you a view about how the different roles look like. And if in case you have questions, as